Buddhism, 100% definitely is based on logic. 100% is based on logic that you can examine and you can see and you can understand and you can incorporate into your lives. The crux of Buddhism, or the mainstay of Buddhism, or the real practice of Buddhism, is free from any type of magic and superstition or any type of supernatural things. It may seem supernatural to you because of your culture, the way you were brought up, or your non-familiarity with what is talked about. But actually, in Buddhism, there's nothing that is supernatural. And the reason for that is the main goal of Buddhism is to create enlightened beings or to create enlightened Buddhas. So hence, to create an enlightened being, it's a step-by-step process within your mind and its transformation. That transformation comes about from knowledge and understanding and incorporation of what you have learned. So therefore, nothing in Buddhism is illogical, cannot be debated upon, cannot be talked about. That's why Buddhist teachers always invite questions, always invite doubt, always is enlivened, excited, and also very, very open to questions and doubt. Maybe some people of certain religions are not open to questions and doubt because they're not very secure or they don't understand what they're talking about very clearly. And also maybe they don't have a lot of confidence in what they're talking about. So, but in Buddhism, we invite questions, we invite doubt, we invite inquiries. And the reason is because that's how you learn. And there's nothing to hide. But there are certain practices in Buddhism that we may not understand or we may not have a familiarity due to our culture or background or learning that may seem mysterious or magical or not befitting of Buddhism. Some of us may think that, and we can think that because we don't have enough knowledge. Now, once you attain a Buddha mind, you attain a Buddha body. Your environment becomes a Buddha field. Your mind is a Buddha mind. Your body is a Buddha body. Your environment is a Buddha field. Hence, the environment of Buddha Vajrayogini is Kichara paradise, or Kichara. So hence, when we become a Buddha, even our environment becomes an enlightened place where other people can enter and receive teachings and transform. So then, when you attain that Buddha body, your body doesn't stay fixed. Your body doesn't stay fixed. It doesn't stay solid. It does not have to stay a certain form. Your body can take on any form, any color, any number of arms, any gender, any. Your body can take on. And your body can emanate in many, many forms to benefit the viewer or spectator. And the reason is because the viewer, the spectator, or the knowledge seeker has different aptitudes. Because they have different aptitudes, you will appear in different forms to suit their aptitude. Because if you manifest yourself in such a way that they don't understand, they don't understand. Hence, if you give higher philosophical teachings of Buddhism, 90 to 95% of the people here will fall asleep. But if you bring that philosophy more on a simpler level, 90% will stay awake. 10% will fall asleep. Now, what happens is hence the many forms of a Buddha is specifically directed or emanated to benefit and to help that particular set of beings at that time and at that place. These forms do not stay solid or fixed. They can change in time. For example, some of the deities or some of the Buddhas we have in the current time period of Shakyamuni Buddha were not the same manifestations during the time of the previous Buddha, Krupachanda. The time of the previous Buddha, these beings didn't manifest the way they look now. Different people, different time, maybe different zone. Similarly, the enlightened beings we have now, at the time of the next Buddha, Maitreya, when he appears, when all these people, all these beings go to hell, also will not necessarily appear as they appear now. So Setra may not appear as a red horseman at the next incarnation or next emanation. It can appear as something else to suit the people of that time. So hence, Setra's lineage, Setra is a lineage that's 2,500 years old. You are tapping into an energy. You are tapping into a power. You are tapping into a type of being that has manifested in this manner for over 2,500 years. So it's very, very powerful. It is very, very ancient and very old. Now, when Lord Buddha gave teachings, there were a multitude of beings. There were men and women, there were princesses, there were normal people, there were gods, there were demons, there were spirits, there were nagas. All beings of all manner came. And during Buddha's teachings, some actually meditated and gained some attainments. Some changed their ways. Some even took oaths during Buddha's talk, because the Buddha's talk transformed their minds completely. So what happened? And there were some people whose minds were not transformed. There were some people, yes, it's possible, that were not transformed. They don't have the karma to receive. Now, when Buddha taught the Dharma, if we apply the Dharma and we practice it, we will get results. But there's a problem. The problem is many of the negative karma that we have done in our previous lives, many of the negative things that we have done in this previous lives will manifest as physical or mental or psychological problems to stop us. They'll manifest as family. They'll manifest as money. They'll manifest as lack of money. They'll manifest as business. They'll manifest as friends. They'll manifest as sickness. Some of us will manifest in serious, horrible, debilitating sickness due to the negative and horrible things we have done before. For people who are very sick, instead of crying and feeling sorry for themselves, it's very important to do practice. Practice two ways. One is to heal. The other is to prepare. So one who has training in spiritual practice, when difficult situations come like that, you will know what to do instead of crying and complaining. Why? If they, the sick one, are crying and complaining, you join them and cry and complain. You just add to their power, add to their suffering, add to the power of their unhappiness. Why would you do that? And you do that not because you want to, because you yourself is untrained. Because you yourself is untrained, you will add to the problem, add to the sickness. So if they have financial problems and difficulties, you will add to it. If they have mental problems, you will add to it. If you have psychological problems, you will add to it. You will add to every problem that other people have because you yourself is untrained. So hence, when you're doing Dharma practice, all these obstacles will manifest. Why? Because you're doing something very good. Whenever you do something bad, there's no obstacles. When you do something good, there's always obstacles. Why? Because something wants to stop you. That's your karma. So your negative obstacles, your negative problems arise as anger, lack of confidence, no faith, or it will manifest as laziness. It will manifest as you make up excuses not to do it. It'll even manifest as marriage. It'll manifest as lack of marriage. It'll manifest as a relationship, or it'll manifest as losing a relationship. There's no fixed ways obstacles can come to disturb us. Why is that? Because this obstacle that arises may disturb this person, but may not disturb that person. Example, you go to the Dalai Lama and say, oh, your bad karma has arisen, you're not going to get a wife. The Dalai Lama is going to be like, so? I don't get a wife, no big deal. But if they tell some lusty old fella in here, you're not going to get a wife, or you're going to lose your wife, because that's their state of their mind. That's the state of their mind. So hence, what's my point? Obstacles arise differently for different people because they have different states of mind. So when you do Dharma practice, when you do spiritual practice, what are you doing? And let me tell you why the obstacles come. Because you are directing your mind towards purifying. You are directing your minds towards transformation and changing. You are directing your mind directly to taking the causes of those sufferings out. So you are touching those actual obstacles. Does everybody understand that? You are touching those actual obstacles. When you touch those actual obstacles, of course those obstacles come and disturb you. I'll give you an example. If you have a basket of snakes, and you leave it in a corner in a cellar, 12 stories under the ground, it's not going to bother you. But if you take an elevator down there and you stick your hands in a basket, you're going to get bitten, right? Of course. Similarly, when you leave your anger alone, and you just keep getting angry, you're happy being angry, what? You think you're happy. No one disturbs it. So if you're a controlling type of person and you manipulate and you hurt your spouses and hurt your friends, or you do things to hurt others all the time, but it looks like it's very nice, then, when you do Dharma practice, the karma will come back. Why will the karma come back? Because when you do Dharma practice, the minute you take refuge in the Buddha, the minute you take refuge, the ceremony, you will see a lot of things go haywire. Do you know why? Because you are putting the light in the darkness, you're cleaning out the garbage, you're cleaning out the room. So there's a lot of dust. So when people take refuge, anger comes. Obstacles come, car accidents come, problems come for some people. Some people, when they do Dharma protective practice, immediately after Dharma protective practice, something horrible happens. Some people, because it comes differently. Why? Is the karma coming out? You think, oh, then I better not do this practice. Oh, you're silly. You know why? Because then this obstacle, this karma will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So later in the future, maybe you don't just have a small car accident, they just steal your car. I don't need to point at anybody, but really, it can become bigger. And if you leave the karma more and more, maybe you have some kind of disease in your body that you can't even drive the car anymore. Why is that? Because the karma only comes back to the people who have done it. Is this a guilt trip? No. Open your mind and accept yourself and accept how you were and what you have done and what you have not done. Accept, that's the first step. Don't reject. Accept that you have done wrong. Accept that you have done good. Accept that you have good qualities. Accept that you have bad qualities. Accept, that's the first step. By making your mind blank or blocking it out, you will continue your current state of unhappiness. Why is that? Because you block out the remedy. Like a leukemia patient who doesn't listen to the doctor, you block out the remedy. So hence, obstacles come to people who are touching the obstacles, who are poking at the obstacles, and who are applying the remedy. Example, when you are very sick and a doctor gives you a remedy, immediately, cancer treatment. What's the name of cancer treatment, somebody? Chemotherapy is more painful than the actual disease. Vomiting, nausea, dizziness, headache, heaviness. When they put that shot in you, the chemotherapy shot, the chemo shot, you suffer more than your actual disease. But you see, then people will say, well, I don't want to get it because I'd rather die than do this. You're stupid. Because this pain you're getting removes the bigger pain. Hence, when you do Dharma practice, you will have obstacles. You will have problems. You will see your anger flare up. You will see more obstacles and problems and difficulties and mental difficulties, fear, running away, not committing. You will see all of that arise. Let me tell you why. Because you are poking directly at your fears. So of course all that arise. So hence people get angry at the Lama. The Lama is the kindest person in your life because the Lama diagnoses you, profiles your mind, understands you, and matches up with the scriptures and comes up with a prescription and pokes you. Gives you a practice, gives you a method, gives you a prescription, and challenges you. Those who get angry at the Lama, question the Lama, or say, oh no, cannot, then you go study for 30 years and come back and find your own solution. Simple. You go to the monastery and study for 30 years. You go become a monk and nun and study, and then you come back and say, let me challenge the teacher now in debate. But if you don't put the effort in, and the Lama gives you a method, and you criticize, and you doubt, and you don't accept, and you don't lie, and you fight, and you make up excuses, it's silly. It's like us fighting with the doctor about a prognosis when we know nothing about medical practices. Nothing. It's like me fighting with the doctor when I know nothing. So similarly, those people who fight with teachers, I'm not saying follow your teacher fanatically. I'm saying after you have accepted a person as your teacher, then you should think of this person as, especially after you took refuge, you should think of this person as a teacher and go through with the training and go through with the purification and go through with the transformation, because this person has profiled your mind, adapted it to what it says in the scriptures to match your type of mentality, and applied it and give you different methods. So a teacher can make fun of you. So a teacher can make you say, hey, give up everything, come for the Dharma. Why? Even the teacher knows you won't give up everything and work for the Dharma. The teacher lets you see your mind. They let you see how you think and what you're attached to and what you want. The teacher lets you see. It's called skill. So hence, sometimes the teacher say, hey, do 100,000 prostrations. You do 5,000, 6,000, you quit. Oh, I can't, I got this coming in, I got that coming in. You talk to your friends support you. Why do they support you? Because they're just as ignorant as you. Of course they're going to support you. Hey, let's go drink. Let's go look at pretty Chinese girls. Let's go get drunk. Let's go listen to karaoke. Let's go. Forget the separate practice. What are you wasting your time for? Of course they're going to try to forget it because they need a friend to waste their time. That's an obstacle. Why is that an obstacle? It takes you away from doing something deeper and more beneficial. So hence, when we take refuge, when we do pujas, when we do prayers, we do meditations, sometimes we engage in retreats, or we do Dharma work. For some people, it seems that more obstacles have arisen. More problems and difficulties has arisen. But let me tell you something. Those obstacles didn't arise because you're doing Dharma work, or Dharma practice. Those obstacles arise because Dharma showed you how your mind is. So hence, if you're not happy at how Dharma treats you, Dharma, Guru, and work is not to blame. It is your own mind to blame. A, do something about it. B, do nothing and pout. It's your choice. If you pick A, you will become better and bigger and more fabulous. If you pick B, you're reincarnated as some mole in a dark hole somewhere. Because that's what you're doing. You're blocking everything out. So therefore, when you do Dharma practice, when you do certain pujas and you do certain rituals, certain things can come out. It's just like when we detoxify. You know, I have a certain friend from Hong Kong who likes to stick pipes up her butt and put water up there and drain her intestines out and become purified of her toxins or whatever like that. I have this friend from Hong Kong. I won't mention her name. She loves it. She loves sticking the pipe up her butt, shoot the water up there, and and she looks at all the things that comes out. The shapes and sizes and colors she looks at. And she SMSs and tells everybody, wow! What's my point? When it detoxifies, it's like that. So when you're doing a puja, don't you think all those things will come out? When you take refuge, don't you think all those things will come out? When you do Dharma practice, don't you think all those things will come out?
As usual for Dharma talks, we should make a very good motivation. We should make an extremely good motivation, and we should listen free of the faulty three pots, as I mentioned on the first day. That's one. We should listen to the teachings as personal advice, not as entertainment, not as something that's fun, not as something that is just for intellectual, informational absorption. We should learn it for the sake of practice, and we should absorb it, and we should also have a lot of compassion. We should go over it again and again and listen to it again and again so that we may share it with others. It's very, very important. How a center grows is not the Lama teaches every single person that walks in. How a center grows is not the Lama gives discourses to every single person that comes in. It's the students who have a greater responsibility to share what has been taught by listening, contemplating, practicing, and then sharing with others. If one listens, it's for intellectual satisfaction, then it remains as that. For intellectual satisfaction, it doesn't match in spiritual progress. Why? Intellectual and practice and transformation is related, but not the same. And that's very, very important. So we should listen with concentration, with focus, and to focus without distraction. And if during Dharma talks we suffer mind jumping, sickness, fever, uncomfortable, a general uncomfortable disposition, it's actually a very good sign. It's a very, very good sign. Why? Usually, This is what my lamas have told me. Usually when we do virtuous work, unvirtuous things happen in the beginning. So when we're doing virtuous work and unvirtuous things happen and we stop, then the unvirtuous forces win. And in most cases, it's our own negative karma. So if we're doing certain retreats, we're doing certain prayers, and we're doing certain meditations, retreats are very, very powerful. And we're doing certain mantras, and we find we have more interruption. We have more sickness, maybe even accidents, or maybe arguments and disharmony, or bad dreams, is a very, very good sign. Excellent. That means the mantras have effect. How do you wish the mantras to have effect? That the minute you do the mantras and prayers and all obstacles and problems, difficulties go away? Yes, they are going away. Why are they going away? Because they're manifesting out now. They're coming out now. How do you expect them to go away? The mantra and the results of our negative karma, when they meet, our practice, our mantras, our refuge, invoking the three jewels, when they meet, how do you expect it to dissolve the negative karma? It's the positive forces you have joined with the negative forces must come out. I'll give you an example. If we're going to go to another country that has meningitis or dengue fever, and we go for inoculation, they're giving us a little bit of the disease so that our immune system can be built up. So when we go for inoculation, we're going to suffer something of that disease. We're going to get some fevers, some running stomach, some headache, maybe dizziness. We're going to get it. We're going to get that disease, and we're going to feel uncomfortable. But to go for inoculation and not complete it because you felt sick at the first one and you stop, you're ridiculous. Why? Then you let your immune system not have a chance to build up a resistance against disease. And the next time you go for inoculation, you're going to go for a larger and bigger dose. Or sometimes they may not work because your immune system has overcome it. Your immune system has not built up an immune system against it due to the inoculation. Similarly, when we do Dharma practice, new intellectual or people who think they're intellectual or who have not studied or have not practiced and have had no experience, the minute they do any type of Dharma practice, whether it's a prostration retreat, we have people in prostration retreats now. In mantra retreat, we have people who are nearly completing 10 million mantras now, at this moment. We have people overseas, such as in Australia, due to our websites, have gotten in contact with us, who have just finished a 500,000 Zambala retreat, according to the instructions I gave them. Via the internet. And they're engaging in a 100,000 water offering retreat. These are people in Australia that I'd never even met. And I have other people, older people in our center, who finished 1 million recitations. I know some other people who finished 1 million recitations in Miktsema and have done over 150,000 prostrations daily. And they all have experienced difficulties and problems in the beginning. All. And the thing is, it's like an inoculation. When we start our practice, we actually have to expect difficulties. More than usual. More problems. More confusion. For all of us, the confusion and the difficulty will come to us specialized for ourselves. Example, if we usually have a strong body, or we are really tolerant towards illness and we can take a lot of pain, then if the obstacle comes in the form of sickness, it doesn't affect us. The obstacles will always come in the form that affects us the most. So if losing money is not our big hang-up, and then doing our retreat, we get our money stolen, our purse taken, or our wallet lost, and there's a couple of $100 inside, and we're like, we lost our money. But it's not a big deal for us because we're not attached to money. Then the obstacle will not come in the form of losing money. If our mind is fidgety, and we always need constant entertainment, we need to run here and there and do this and this and this, then during retreats, Dharma discourses, practices, doing meditations, our mind will become even more itchy, more unstable than normal. And when that happens, we experience it, we watch it, and we should feel happy. We say, wow, this has effect. We don't need to be hard on ourselves. Why do we not need to be hard on ourselves? Because we are not a Buddha. We're not a Buddha. So therefore, sometimes during prostration retreats, people who are very sensitive to illness, they get very sick. They get very, very sick. Yet even they're sick, they get up and do 3 prostrations until they're well a day in order to complete the continuum or keep the continuum. The retreat means not to break the continuity. It's to teach us discipline, it's to teach us practice, and also when you're learning something, it has to be consistent. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. If you break off, start, break off, start, break off, start, high chances are you have forgotten what you have learned. Similarly, for prostrations, you need to be continuous. Continuous. So that's very, very, very important. Very important. Continuity. And therefore, when we engage in retreats, if our Lama has given us a sadhana, if we have some specific idam we're supposed to do every day, or we're supposed to do black tea, or we're supposed to do some retreats or prayers or some readings, please expect obstacles to come. If obstacles don't come, perhaps either you're a Buddha or you're near Buddhahood, you don't have any karma to clear. Nothing. Nothing. And when we do retreats, when we do specific tantric practices, or when we do yidam practices, right? Also, this is another thing you need to expect, is supernatural interferences. That's why you have the Dharma protective practices. You definitely have supernatural practices. Do you know that if we leave water bowls empty up in front of the Buddha, in front of any holy images, that specific action draws one type of spirit. That spirit is drawn by that type of action, not because it's Buddhist. He has some connection to empty items, some connection, and especially in front of something holy. So if you leave that empty item in front of a holy image, and it's up, it attracts the type of spirits that come, that's dark and tall, and he presses on you, and he presses on your chest, and he makes you hear a buzzing sound. You can't move, you can't talk much. It's as if you're choking, but he doesn't kill you. He doesn't have the power to kill you. But you will feel almost stuck. And he'll come again and again and again. And there's a certain practice to do. If you have faith and confidence in your Lama can give you a tsakale, a picture. For example, the Buddha Dukkha with a prayer. Give to you, put in your room, immediately the interference will go away. If your faith in your Lama is mediocre, you do the mantra and that. If your faith in your Lama is very small, very, very little, then you have to do more of that mantra. And the more of that mantra that you do, you have to do, that person, that being will still come and interfere with you. Why? He's getting his last try in to get you. But if you ask, well, we're doing Dharma, how can that happen? How? Hey, kids have cheated parents. Wives have cheated husbands. Husbands have cheated wives. Why is that spirit attracted to that? I have no idea. I wasn't around when that spirit initially died and made an evil wish. People, maybe he was disgruntled with something and then he died, committed suicide. I don't know. And then all people who do offerings and stuff, he has jealousy and hatred towards. You say, well, why is it when I make offerings to the Buddha and stuff, then that can happen? It's in front of the Buddha. The Buddha is there. The Buddha is not in front of just a tanka. It's not just in front of statues. All around you if you wish. So why do we do? Why don't ask why a spirit comes when there's an empty water bowl offering in front and it's in front of a Buddha image. Don't ask that. Why is it in front of a Buddha we can gossip? Why is it in front of a Buddha we can think negative thoughts and create lust and jealousy and anger? Why is it we can cheat temples? Why is it we can criticize the monks, and why is it we can criticize our gurus? Why can we do all of that? That's much worse than a spirit. All he does is comes and presses you on the chest for a little while and goes off. But our gossip can be very damaging. So we don't need to think why, because there are things much worse to contemplate on. So when we do Dharma practice, so-called Dharma practice, or engage in so-called Dharma practice, we have to expect obstacles. For how long? How intense? I don't know. That's individual. That's individual. And some people experience terrifying dreams. Anything negative when you engage in Dharma practice is excellent. It's like when you first go to the gym and they give you your workout, you are in mortal pain for weeks. Your muscles are in pain. So what do? Some people stop. They say, I can't take the pain. I know one person that came with me exercise. I took this lady because I used to walk up and down in an apartment in the stairwell because I was in robes and I couldn't run around outside in robes. It looks ridiculous. A bald guy wearing a long yellow dress. I mean, wouldn't that be interesting to drive by? So I walk up and down the stairwell. So I convinced a certain lady to walk with me because she was getting a little heavy too. She's my friend. And she contacted me in the noon and the night always. And her SMSs that time, that's years ago, was, did you eat? You want to go eat? Let's go eat. So I thought, okay, never mind, let's go eat. Anyway, I have to eat. So we ate ourselves to Kingdom Come. And we were as big as a kingdom. So I said, well, let's do this. And she said, all right, I'll do. And it took me a couple of weeks to convince her because this lady has never, ever done any exercise, ever. So we walked up and down the stairwell. We walked down. She was fine. She goes, this is not too bad. And when we walked up, I mean, it was about 20 flights. I think 1/3 way up. She sat down. She was like, she goes, I hate this. I said, you have to do it. She goes, I can't take it. My heart's going to burst. I said, you ain't 80 years old. Come on, let's do it. So we went up and down, up, down. And let me tell you, the third time we went up, halfway she said, I'm going home. She said, that's it. I can't take it. And she went home. And for the next 2 to 3 weeks, she could barely walk. She walked as if she had no knees. She was like, she never, ever joined me. The next time I said, stairwell, she would run. So you want to exercise? She goes, don't talk to me. You want lunch? Call me that? No. She goes, no. I'll do the traditional way. I just cut my food down, which she never did. She's bigger as a boat now still. And she said, no. And it was so funny because she was sweating. She was panting. She was hyperventilating. She was in a stairwell like, and she was not faking it. I mean, she's usually a drama queen, but she wasn't faking it because I was also hyperventilating. And she had so much pain in her legs because she's never ever used those muscles in her life. She never did the exercise again. Ever. And consequently, what happened? She's as big as a boat now. Still. Big as a boat. And, I continue the exercises. And I'm just a raft. Just a little raft, not a boat. So my point is, if for normal things like that, we have pain, of course, during Dharma practice, we're going to have problems. Of course. So when we do Dharma practice and obstacles come, the wrong thing to do is stop. Why is it the wrong thing? Meditation, contemplation, reading, transforming the mind, learning the methods to become a person who has good qualities. Prayer to the 3 jewels who are infallible refuge. How can that bring wrong action or wrong result? Impossible. It is impossible. If you think it's possible, then you put it in the complaint box to Buddha Shakyamuni or His Holiness the Dalai Lama or Trijang Rinpoche or Saramji. You write them a letter and say, guess what? Prayer is bad. The mantras bring bad effects. The mantras make me suffer. You'll probably get a letter back saying, that's the right way. Good. So when bad things happen, negative things happen, actually check the level of your mind. At that moment, check your tenacity. At that moment, check your willpower. And last but not least, this is the most important, check your spiritual conviction. You check your spiritual conviction. If obstacles come and you give up and stop and run, then you say you want to advance in spiritual practice. Your conviction is not there. So what you should do is build up that conviction. Build up. If we're very sick, of course we need to lie down and rest, but we should be happy. We should think, oh, very good. And usually at the conclusion of our practice, conclusion of the teachings, people get well. Usually at the conclusion of our retreats and mantra recitations, the obstacles clear. Usually. So if we have a holy practice to do, we engage in it. Seemingly, there is no effect or there is effect. Seemingly. But do we have the knowledge to know what the effect should and should not be? Or are we still on a worldly path thinking, oh, if I do this, positive results should come out immediately? Your own perception of positive results. Why isn't purifying one's karma a positive result? Why not? Of course, purifying one's karma is positive results. And then what do you think the purification of karma is? Is that you recite a few mantras and then the negativities that we've committed just goes away? If you have the realization of voidness, then it is like that. You can dissolve your negative karma without having to experience it. If you don't have the experience of voidness, if you're a normal, ordinary level like us, the karma can come out in obstacles, minor obstacles, that build you stronger, or that when the obstacle happens, afterwards, it becomes better. It becomes better. The perennial saying, the sun comes out after the storm. So like that, when we engage in Dharma practice, it's like doing exercises or taking inoculation. We should be very happy when obstacles arise. If we do stop, don't expect the obstacles to stop. Why? It's like not completing your inoculation. We have to think. And don't be the judge of what's good and bad as a result of your spiritual practice. Do not be the judge. Why? Do you know what are the good signs? Do you know what are the bad signs? Do you know what is supposed to happen? Or are you just judging from your own background of limited knowledge of how it should be? Spiritual conviction is through thick and thin. Spiritual conviction is not when things go the way you think it should go, and then you do it. When the things don't go the way you think it should go, you don't do it. That's not spiritual conviction. That's more intellectual or more almost entertainment.